Should the Three Gorges Dam just be turned into scrap metal? Be recycled? My answer is yes. A warm welcome to the channel. This is the James Neil Cooper Show, and guess what? Yes, I am James. A very warm welcome. It's a very interesting topic, and why did I come up with this kind of why? Yeah. It was close to 100 years ago when the idea came by the last emperor of the last dynasty, Qing, who came up with the idea of damming the Yangtze, the powerful Yangtze, to control the river. Mao thought of it, and it was implemented and voted for in the 1980s and started construction in the 1990s. We all know that, and 60% of the government said yes, 40% abstained from it and saying no, it's not going to happen. But has it benefited anyone in China? And the answer is not really. How much electricity does it produce? There are some people saying it's paid its money back in electricity dues of $36 billion. I highly doubt that. Electricity is very cheap, but it has paid its money back because on your water bill in China, a very small percentage will be included of the build of the Three Gorges Dam. So the electricity that it produces has never got up to 100 million people, what it is expected to do. Lucky if it reached 10 or 20 million people. Secondly, that's the electricity, that's the money it should be making. Tourism is a tiny amount. The cruises we're going to delve into a little bit later for today. But what about flood control? Well, 2 years ago, 2020, it didn't really help. In fact, it hindered. They had the dilemma of which city to flood, Chongqing or Wuhan. Wuhan lost. If it wasn't there and smaller dams were, then they wouldn't have the problem. Every big river has floods. We've seen it over the decades. Last year, it was the Rhine in Germany. Earlier this year were some in Australia, and we also had the Yellowstone Park River in the United States. It happens, but it doesn't happen every single year. The Yangtze this year is the opposite. It's turned into a drought. One of the drought reasons I could say is related to climate control, pollution, what China does. Well, the biggest polluter in the world, and still spending vast sums of money making more coal stations, coal mines, etc., when they said they're going to be carbon neutral by 2050. I sort of go, I don't believe you. So it should be scrapped. It should be torn down before it just gets blown down. The Three Gorges Dam, I have said, will collapse in the future like any other dam in the world, quote unquote. When it's going to happen, some experts say 30 years, some say 3 days, some say 10 years, some say 60 days. I just saw 60 years. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm just interested. But before that happens, like even the Hoover Dam, for example, before it's not any use and it's just an eyesore, for example, then it should be dismantled. But that's going to be another kettle of fish because, well, it's the largest dam in the world. How are you going to do that? Another headache, and the poor Chinese taxpayers have to pay out for that. And of course, the corruption goes on. The list goes on and on. So, Three Gorges Dam shouldn't have never been built, and what they should do, I would say, in the next 10, 20, 30 years is just turn it into recycle. Scrap it. Let's have a look at the levels, and let's have a look at the weather. thing to talk about the Three Gorges Dam Yangtze is this, entitled Dam Yangtze Impact of the Three Gorges Dam on Sino-US Relations, written by David C. Johnson. And yes, I'm going to do some really bad reading, but you can read it as well. So if you want to mute for the next couple of minutes, that's fine. Despite the environment, human rights and dam safety issues that convinced the Clinton administration to abstain from the Three Gorges Dam project, the United States should have re-evaluated the pursue policy in order to confront the troubling issues from inside. Altering, refostering current dam construction, incorporating new building techniques and environmental safe standards, safeguards, and impending resettlement approaches documents by the World Commission of Dams. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I didn't actually know there is a Commission of Dams. And you can type it in, World Commissions of Dams on Google, it is there. A little bit boring to read, but it's what's happening with dams around the world. Cruise ships are having some problems. The river cruises, these are very different compared to the Royal Caribbean that you would see in the Caribbean, for example, trying to attract visitors again, and they are just going, well, they have no choice, only going for the domestic market. I think it's time for a break, and what is happening on November the 24th on this channel? Take a look. Away from the Yangtze Three Gorges, what's happening in China? Well, if you're feeling hungry, make sure you get to the buffet early. And on the 16th, I do believe, of this month of October 2022, it's the 20th National Congress. And Beijing is getting prepared for all the big wigs, all the government officials in one room. And so all the police, security, all have to wear the hazmat suit, the stormtroopers, the big whites, whatever, looking like this. And you always sort of think that these people in these suits are like evil, but they're not. All of them. Look at this guy in a quarantine center somewhere in China, but they actually go to him and sing happy birthday. That's nice of them. Meanwhile, in airports in Yunnan province, which is in the southwest of China, they seem to have armed personnel there for some reason. Now, it's common near enough in any country to have armed personnel in airports, but it's sort of very strange in China. And I also found this report that you would like to have a look and have a read. It's in Chinese, but the subtitles are quite clear.
好，这个时候要刷身份证或者健康码，还得再人脸识别，我才能回家。这是一个长期的准备啊，一时半会儿想摘掉口罩是不现实了。老铁们，你们小区有没有装这个设备啊？做短期计划不现实喽，看来这是一个长期计划，要做好充分的准备，接受它吧。
中共国深圳几乎所有小区都按照这个刷脸系统或者手机扫码是与中共公安监控连接的，你什么时候回家出去全部记录在案，随时可以调取审核。如果某人被嫌疑了，系统马上报警， 小区保安马上捉住某人，交给中共公安。回家比坐牢还严格，每次进出小区都有一种莫名的恐怖和无奈，住户被赤裸裸的监控。
What's happening on the Pickle and Tokyo channel? Well, you can see at the moment a video that how old when Tokyo was 6 weeks old and Pickle is now 6 weeks old, and you can see the difference. A little bit later today we are, if the rain stops, going to do a sort of like mini documentary of how to look after, or our experiences of looking after a abandoned kitten like Pickle. And again, I repeat, as always, many thanks to all the contributions. All I need is for you to go over to the channel. The link is in the description below, and like and share. And if you feel generous enough to donate for Pickle's food, vaccinations and spading, which is going to happen next year. Away from that, I did actually find something very, very relaxing, and it looks like this. This is a live satellite feed from one satellite traveling at 27 kilometers an hour, about 431 kilometers away from Earth. And I just found it really relaxing. What do you think? Leave a message in the comment form below. Which brings us to a close on today, Thursday, the 6th of October. I haven't mentioned it. Have an awesome weekend coming up shortly, and I will wish you a happy day, and I should be back here tomorrow. Getting a little bit busy with little bits and pieces, so not too sure, but I try to make a show near enough 6:30 every day of the year. My name is James. This is the James Neil Cooper Show. Bye-bye for now. Thank you so much for your time.